Hey, Paul from Arrowhead Equipment here. Got the Potomac underquilt here, and I've got a Hennessy Expedition set up, so we're going to do a quick video, show you how to set this quilt up, get it dialed in for you, and see just how it works. It's a great quilt. It's one of our most popular options in the Kick-Ass Quilts line, and it's the original Kick-Ass quilt. So, about time we got this video done. The Potomac will work with any of the Hennessy models. Works great from all the way from the ultralight backpacker all the way up through the deep jungles. Any model they've got, the Expeditions, Explorer, you name it, this quilt works with it. It's the one we recommend for a Hennessy, and it's the best fit on a Hennessy. So I want to take and show you real quick how it sets up, a little bit about it. This one here is one of the olive drab OD green quilts. It's an Apex upgraded model, and I want to show you kind of the size of it real quick too. So one of the things a lot of people ask is how small they can compress this, how much they should compress it. And I want to give you a good idea. The regular stuff sacks are pretty well oversized. We get those pretty large, but to give you an idea, this is kind of what you're looking at for pack size on that Potomac quilt. You can kind of squish it down a little further if you really need to, but you know, that gives you an idea what you're looking at, what you're working with there. Not too bad for a full length, full coverage quilt. This on something like the ultralight backpacker, it's an edge-to-edge coverage. It's going to cover all of the hammock so that no matter how you sprawl out, you've got insulation under you. So you stay real warm with this quilt. It's a great option. Like I said, we oversize our stuff sacks, and that allows the stuff sack to kind of be able to squish and the quilt to squish and fit the size and shape of your pack. So we'll pull it out here, get it set up. The Potomac is basically a diamond shape. It's got a couple little pleats in it at either end or either side for to match up with the tie-outs on the Hennessy. Get that ASIM layout on the quilt. At either end, there's a shock cord line that'll have a micro carabiner on there. And just take that, come up to your suspension, and clip it in. Run down to the other end with the opposite cord. And again, right at the base of the suspension, the end of the hammock, right where the suspension line comes off the hammock, that's where you attach to. And then again, you've got those ASIM connection lines there. You can take it if you want to, run the guy cords out through that so that those stay matched up. If you need to, once you've connected, flip the quilt. If the connections don't line up, it's as simple as rotating the quilt over and then matching up those connection points. So we'll take that, run those cords through on these. That keeps everything lined up. And then we'll take our stake that we're using, run that down in the ground, and do the opposite on the other side. Alright, now that we've got the quilt attached to the hammock and guyed out with the tie-outs on the sides of the hammock, now we're going to snug the quilt up to the hammock and make sure we get that kind of glove-like fit. To do that, on either end, we've got a pair of cord locks that have 3 shock cord lines. There's a heavy-duty line. That one will actually suspend the quilt. That's what holds it up to the hammock. So we're going to snug that one up on either end. And then the other 2 lines run as perimeter channels. We have one line that runs on this end and then runs down along the side. On the opposite end of the quilt, we've got the same thing but flipped in reverse. Again, we have the line for suspending the quilt, and then we've got it for snugging the quilt. So we're going to take and snug those lines up. Just so we've got good tension around. We still want to have some give in all of this. We still want the quilt to be able to move. If you snug it so tight that the quilt has no give left in those shock cord lines, what you'll actually be doing is hanging your weight on the quilt rather than the hammock suspension when you climb in. You got to have some give in that. If there's no give, you could tear the quilt. We'll do the same on the opposite end, and we'll check out how everything fits together. Okay, so now we got to figure out getting in and out of the hammock. With a bottom entry Hennessy, A lot of folks ask, well, just how do I deal with the quilt? Does the quilt have an opening on it? What do I do? The quilt doesn't. It's actually just the shock cord suspension allows you to pull it to the side, and it snaps right back into place when you've got weight in the hammock. Really simple, really easy, the least complicated method of getting in and out and trying to get everything sealed back up around you when you're inside the hammock so you stay warm. I'm going to go ahead and hop in and show you how that works. But as always, remember, you don't want anything that's going to poke your hammock. No keys and no pocket knives. So we just take and literally just kind of push the quilt to one side, find the bottom entry, open it up, hop in just as we normally would. Once you're inside and you have everything in place, you notice that the quilt pops right back over the top of that entry, seals that up. So to exit the hammock when you're ready to, pretty much the same process, just in reverse. Again, you just want to open up that bottom entry, find the edge of the quilt, whether you do that with your hand or your foot, whatever you need to do. Slide the quilt over to one side, pop out right through that bottom entry. Well, there you have it. That's the Potomac Underquilt from Kick-Ass Quilts. This is Paul from Arrowhead, and if you want to stay warm, you know you need a kick-ass quilt.